I just wanted to thank the AVEVA team, Naif. I'm not sure where Naif is. Naif, thank you for bringing the team. I know you've left some very challenging circumstances for those of you who don't know. The team from the Middle East, from UAE, from Dubai, has just experienced, I think, a once-in-a-lifetime flood, right? A year's rainfall in just over 10 or 12 hours. The airport was flooded. It looked like a river. I saw a video from Naif. Families are left behind. So thank you very much. We really do appreciate you still arriving in South Africa. Your commitment is certainly appreciated, noted and appreciated. Thank you very much for that. We do appreciate it. And we know this is not the first AVEVA Day on African soil. It's the previous one was in Nigeria. The next one is in Saudi. So as South Africans, we really appreciate the attention and the support that you are providing to our market. So challenging circumstances all around. On the one hand, and also very importantly, I think it shows the level of commitment that you have shown in our environment. I'm going to introduce my colleague next to you in a minute, but I just want to say, and thanks to all the presenters for showing us all the global cases, etc. South Africa is very particular, right? We're a large economy, industrialized economy, with no other large industrial economies nearby. So we've always been accused of not being early adopters globally, that we like proven technology. I think that is the case. I think mostly the case. In some cases, it's not. We have our particular challenges in South Africa. Some of them we share with the rest of the world. Some of them are very unique to us. I'm not going to go into our unique challenges. And thankfully, the lights are still staying on so far. There are other challenges apart from the known ones, right? Across our industrial landscape, we have organizations that have some really big pain points. Some of you are sitting here in the audience today. We see all the data, talking about data, all the data shows very simply that organizations are facing this challenge, that costs are increasing, but productivity is decreasing. It's the reality that we face. This has been the trend for the last 5 years. So there was a study recently done by PwC, was published 2 or 3 weeks ago, but those jaws are widening, unfortunately. There are also other companies that are looking to make gains, to optimize, to expand in South Africa and outside of South Africa, but with significant pressure on their capital models. And whilst we are far away from these other industrial economies, we still have a significant amount of growth ahead of us. Some would say that some of our industries are in maturity, but with the new technologies, those life cycles can easily be extended. So this afternoon, we will introduce this connected industrial ecosystem. You've heard about it previously. We didn't take the name from Connect. Connect is new. It was called AVEVA Data Hub previously. But part of the reason that we talked about this connected industrial ecosystem is we still believe that, still now, it's a people-based ecosystem, right? We've got the technology, we've got the tools. It's us as people that find the needs to collaborate, right? We find the reasons not to collaborate. We find the reasons to maintain our silos, our kingdoms. This is the human condition, right? So we have a lot to cover. Hopefully I'm going in the right direction. In these 30 minutes, we've got a lot to cover. We'll do it in a kind of a team approach, but at the same time, we also want to show that collaboration is possible. Sam was working on this presentation from Bedford View. I was working from Pretoria, and we were able to collaborate and be able to bring this this presentation through, right? So Samir is the head of our business development team. He'll take you through recent history, something that we all are aware of, but we haven't actually quite joined the dots. It's a condition, and I think I mentioned it at the very start of my introduction, that we are all faced with, right? And it's taken us a long time to get to the point of action. Sam's going to cover that. He's going to take you through a quick journey. Sam, over to you.
If I were to approach you 100 years ago and tell you that the world is warming up, and I mean this in the literal sense, would you have believed me? Right. And of course, this is exactly what has happened. The study that I have on screen refers to global warming. And would you believe that 100 years of research was required to back up that claim that the world is warming up? Of course, that period was from the 1800s to 1870, and once all of that data and research was compiled, again, we still had naysayers. It still required convincing to the global community that this is a real pandemic approaching us. So, what did we have to do? The scientists, the researchers, had to embark on an awareness campaign globally and bring in global decision makers and convince them of this data that was captured, the analysis and the projections that were uncovered. It was only by 1987 that the Montreal protocols were initiated, calling for global action. What I want to highlight here is the time it takes to actually collect all of such data, a decision to be made, and the action that needs to follow suit for a global scale initiative. Very similarly, the second case, CFC emissions. I think we're all familiar with this. What I want to highlight here is that very similarly, we had to collect data, and in this case, it took about decades worth of information being captured to indicate that CFC emissions are actually having an impact on the ozone layer. And maybe it was a bit of coincidence. It did tie into global warming and did affect global warming. And the Montreal protocols were also in effect to address CFC emissions. And with all of this data, it was projected that only by 2060 will the ozone layer be fully recovered. So, based on these two studies, there's some key observations I would like to share with you today. Just to reiterate again, the amount of time required to capture data and do that analysis went from 100 years to 10 years. So a little bit of an improvement. Acceptance of that research was a challenge, hence resulting in awareness initiatives and things like that having to go forward. The implementation action also did improve from approximately 5 years to 2 years, but it's an ongoing action that need to go forward. What led to some of these improvements? The extensive awareness campaigns that had transpired, and this was needed because again, what happened? People did not trust the information that was set before them. It could have been tampered with, maybe somebody was using it for their own propaganda gains, etc., etc. Right? So there was no trust in the information presented. Also what transpired is this emergence of a global community, this collection for collaboration purposes, to work towards an end goal. Let's solve this problem we are facing. Also key to the improvement, the evolution of the technology that was more available and the analytical methods that were presented. And of course, any initiative requires measures, metrics to track how we are progressing. Are we actually heading in the right direction? This leads me to introduce this concept of the connected industrial ecosystem. As you can see, in this world where innovation drives progress, there is a need for industries to evolve faster than ever before. Now, this connected industrial ecosystem is a convergence of technology, collaboration, and sustainability, all in the efforts to serve and define a brighter future for all of us. In essence, what does it entail? It means connecting entities such as manufacturers, suppliers, as well as other ecosystems like smart cities, infrastructure, telecoms, bringing all of that information together, okay, while still leveraging the latest advancements in technology from the Industrial Revolution 4.0. We know, and we've spoken about, generative AI, big data, cloud computing, all of these technologies which AVEVA have incorporated within their solution stack. Again, this is meant to support the collaboration and the community to drive these global initiatives. Let's all work together to see these benefits, such as the circular industrial economy. We can work towards better energy efficiencies and a better life for all of us all. I'll unpack that a bit more on that. Where I want to take you to now is what we're probably all familiar with, or some of us should be familiar with. This heartbeat of industry. We've spoken about the industrial innovations that have led. And we have also spoken about this morning about AVEVA's approach towards industry, this innovative approach that encompasses the entire industrial lifecycle. Hemant spoke about this morning the engineering portfolio, the design and build portfolio. Zahab spoke about the operate portfolio, and Rana spoke about the asset performance portfolio. Bringing all of this together helps us to create this industrial lifecycle and address the key challenges within industry itself. And Hanu also did touch on the advanced applications that are now available to our industrial users from the AVEVA portfolio. So the technology exists, it's there. We have the advanced software portfolio, and underpinned by it all is the industrial information. We're getting this information. I'll speak in a few slides about the data symphony and how all of our data is being extracted. I think Zahab covered this quite well. A few other things that we probably need to touch on. In order to create global action, again, we need information to be trustworthy and not tampered with. We need to incorporate industrial cybersecurity into our models as well. This helps us prevent the information from being tampered with. And even underpinning all of that, improving industrial connectivity. Those are going to be the next leaps in terms of this architecture, where we need to maybe address some of our focus areas towards. And as Dion alluded to, we are in South Africa, so ensuring that this data flow is uninterrupted, highly available, include things like alternative power supplies, UPSs, alternative energy sources, to ensure the data flow is correct. So, Dion, what else do we need to enable this connected industrial ecosystem?
Why don't we ask the audience, Sam? This is not Rias, by the way. We're just winging it. Thanks. So far, from what you've seen this morning to what we've just covered in the last few minutes, what do you think the role of a connected industrial ecosystem would be?
What I'd be looking for is a one version of the truth. So you get that one version of the truth, ease integration between the systems, but you want a way you can integrate across multiple applications where you can pick up this.
Yeah. You said it at the very beginning, a single version of the truth. Okay, you could have been up here talking about it, right? So, I mean, what we see very simply is the role of a connected industrial ecosystem is essentially to be a catalyst for change. The technology exists. It's clear. And I just want to emphasize, maybe it didn't come through with some of the use cases here. This technology has been tested in the world's most difficult environments, in even the most tightly regulated industries, like the nuclear industry. So it's already been tested. So we don't have to be concerned about being early adopters. I think that's important. So this role of this connected industrial ecosystem is to be this catalyst for change, right? To, I don't know if I can use the word, to revolutionize industrial operations. Right, I think that's what we want to do. To enable these production facilities to overcome the challenges that we spoke about earlier. Declining productivity. This is a generic statement, but it is very true for South Africa, unfortunately, right? How to enable these production facilities to start becoming more efficient. As Sam said earlier, to hum with efficiency on the one hand, right? And on the other hand, to make sure that we can use our data correctly. So Mike has been in the industry for a long time, in a very large organization, and he will be the first to say that despite all of the efforts in the past, and many of you would echo those sentiments, that we haven't made use of our data. Data is powerful. We haven't really, am I right, Mike? Okay, cool. So what we are essentially talking about here is where if we could just for a minute start imagining this connected industrial community, what would it look like, right? So as we're talking, just you can drift off a little bit, think about what this connected community looks like, right? Where collaboration is part of everything that we do. It's in our DNA, collaboration. One of the biggest things that we talked about, and I think Mike just covered it very simply, silos. Okay, we've been talking about breaking down silos ever since I've been in the OT space, which is a long time, as you can see from my lack of hair. How can we get people in the field workers that you talked about, that Rana talked about, okay? People at the coalface, people in the boardrooms, engineers, software, process automation specialists, process control engineers, data scientists, okay, procurement, finance, doesn't matter. How can we get them collaborating, working together, right? How can we ensure that the data flows freely, those insights flows freely, those advanced analytics are available to those decision makers, right? Very interestingly, okay, I think we asked a question previously, where does innovation come from? And most of you will say innovation comes from inside your organization, but that's been extremely limiting to you, right? Innovation can come from everywhere these days, right? And by collaborating within the broader ecosystem, this is exactly the type of approach that we are looking for, right? So continue imagining this industrial community where we work together, right? I think you've seen this previously. We are just now depicting it a little differently to you, but where teams can work together. And we know teams are everywhere. They're ahead of us. They're working from home. They're working from the coffee shop. They're working from different parts of the planet. But where they can collaborate more efficiently, right? Where global technical standards through ISO 56000, innovation management fundamentals, is deployed here. So we have a common framework for innovation, where our legacy systems, and we know South Africa's got a very mature asset base. So Rana, when you're talking about asset strategy optimization, anyone talking about asset performance management, it's a very rich environment because of a very mature industrial landscape, right? We have a lot of legacy systems, to put it another way. These legacy systems have for a long time been a barrier to innovation. We're stuck with these systems, we've got to use these systems, we've got key man dependencies. These are the challenges that every organization faces, right? How can we ensure that this platform that we're talking about, this agnostic platform that we're talking about, neutral platform, eliminates these issues? Legacy systems need not be a barrier, right? How can we turn the data plus context into knowledge, that information plus experience into knowledge, data plus context into information, information plus experience into knowledge, knowledge and our ability to make decisions, our judgment into wisdom, wisdom plus decisions into action. Giving Mike what he wants, a single version of the truth. turning data into decisions. Now, who are the end users? End users are customers, a part of our industrial landscape, right? So again, just continue imagining, right? Where we as technology providers, critical suppliers, system integrators, customers, partners, work together so that we can drive these deeper efficiencies, right? An ecosystem where we can reduce waste, improve quality, reduce cost, right? Where end users are the center of that ecosystem, okay? And again, I said a people-based ecosystem. End users are people in the environment, okay? Where we can enable our system integrator partners, enable our learning ecosystem, and ensure that we can bring local and global experts, domain expertise, available anywhere, right? Where we can be enabled with data, and we can use whatever platform we have, whether it is your own development team, in-house development team, or you can in-source development teams to create an environment where there's continuous digital solutions provision. That was also demonstrated in the AVEVA Connect slide. So imagine this, okay, where the undoubted competence that we have within our organizations, as part of this community, together with our customers, effectively has value creation as the end goal, right? When we can bring this ecosystem together, and many of you, we see it, we're part of this community for some of us decades, right? When we understand what has happened, excuse me, in our environment, particularly in South Africa, where production has gone down and costs have gone up, okay? The last data I saw about our industrial output was in 2022. I haven't quite seen the 2023 industrial output yet, but industrial output in South Africa at the end of 2022 is exactly the same as it was in 2002 in real terms. Okay, so it means that we need a catalyst. And I think AVEVA is here today to actually show us that we've got the tools, we've got the capability for us to be able to create value.
How do we go about creating value? Encompassing this community into one ecosystem. But what have we been doing as of late? Leaning back on those perspectives I've opened up with, and to what Mike alluded to, we've actually started building a little bit of a methodology for synthesizing this data, orchestrating this data. We know we are able to connect up to digital devices, analog devices, bring that through into our various systems, PLCs, ECSs, PAC systems, and so forth, leveraging some of the technology available from AVEVA. AVEVA does have the largest stack of protocols available, and then being able to secure that information using industrial cybersecurity standards. Now in a position to start adding context to that data from the field, from our industrial field, our factory floor, using systems like Pi Core, AVEVA system platform, and so forth. And then serve this information through fantastic user interfaces, human-machine interfaces to the operations personnel, enabling manufacturing execution systems, and the like. Great. Up until this point, it's basically the ISA 95 standard. And yes, this architecture is not a traditional architecture, so hopefully the non-technical folks can appreciate it. But yes, we can take this information beyond the factory floor, again, secured, and share it with other key stakeholders within the business, probably using tools such as a Unified Operations Center to get that one version of the truth that we spoke about. But we go even further. We now have at our disposal cloud technologies and AVEVA Connect, AVEVA Data Hub, which, as was alluded to in some of the use cases, helps enable some of our remote workers even our technical OEM specialists, etc., who can then further advise us in terms of what's the best way to run those assets that we have from them. And it also enables us to do some pretty remarkable things in the cloud with all the computing power available to us, such as artificial intelligence, applying some of those advanced algorithms to that information so we can maybe have an optimized value chain within our little industry that we have. And of course, I can go on and on and on in terms of the use cases and capabilities and applications, but what we basically built here is a living industrial digital twin. It could be an oil refinery for that matter. And the methodology that we've applied towards building up these systems, right, is something that we can extend, or we have been extending, to other industries. The time has come for us to orchestrate the next level of interaction amongst industries and create this interconnected industrial ecosystem. Imagine this. Mine being able to know exactly what the demand is of its sister coal-powered turbine or power plant. Maybe we could do some other awesome applications like energy wheeling, having an industrial manufacturing facility be able to choose and select which is the most effective energy source available, whether it be solar, coal, and so forth. And we've been able to orchestrate this with the technology and, of course, the people that Dion have mentioned, our collaboration. So we've achieved quite a lot over the past 30 to 50 years. It's time to go even beyond that. Let's go beyond the factory floor. And again, aligning with our purpose. If we want to have a global impact, well, we need to think about our citizens and the consumers. I did mention that 100 years ago, well, what was our global population? I think it was sitting at 1.8 billion. Today, it's quadrupled, right? 7.8 billion. So, our consumption has increased. No wonder we're in a state of global warming, but at least we're able to address this. But the next aspect is to be able to manage those resources that we have available from our planet and not overconsume, not impact on the resources of future generations. What's going to help us and guide us is that data coming from our industrial facilities. We're then able to close the loop with some of these industries that you see on the screen, back to industry, and better understand what those consumption habits are and better protect our resources. So just to name a few of those industries beyond the factory floors, of course, we're looking at renewables, unifying these supply chains, having more effective, more smarter cities, enabling smarter citizens, improving our telecoms infrastructure, and of course, all of this is going to be heavily dependent on data centers. Again, all of these entities heavily interconnected to each other to create brand new use cases for serving our planet. So Dion, we've mentioned the technology that's available, we have the people, we have the methodology. When can we expect this?
We did ask the audience to imagine what this connected industrial ecosystem would look like. What we'd like you to do is stop imagining for a minute. If you can just come back. Right? And I think this is the kicker, right? You will see that whilst we believe in a people-based ecosystem, we used AI to generate images, right? And that was done on purpose because we want to show you that AI has got a very significant impact on all our lives at the moment. Most of us use some form of AI one way or the other this morning in our journey to get here. From the time we've woken up, someone has used AI, right? It's pervasive, it exists, yet we are still fearful about it, right? Very importantly, we want to say that you can stop imagining. The technology already exists. It's already proven. Okay, we've seen some of it this morning. We've got this agnostic, open, connect platform. It started from OSI Pi, started from some of the development. It went into OCS, it went into AVEVA Data Hub. We called it sometimes, I think we were the first to try and offer that. It was called PyDip at this stage, right? So, but it's evolved so fast. It's simply because the nature of the external environment is evolving so fast. Someone once said that if change is happening faster outside than inside, the end is near. I think it was Jack Welch, I can't remember. Right? Change is happening at a rapid pace. Okay, so the technology exists, right? And this Connect, it's built by industrial experts. It's built by people that know, that experience, understand how the environment works, that understands the life cycle. It's not any old vanilla cloud, legacy cloud, as we would call it. But it offers everything. We don't want to go into what Connect does because you've seen it already, but very importantly, it gives you the ability to make use of your data. It gives you the ability to start running advanced analytics. When you share data, you don't have to do it via CSV files. It's the 99% of data that's shared is done via CSV files. And what happens with CSV files, I think we know, right? The more sharing that has been done, the less trust there is in that. Okay, so the technology exists without a doubt. That single version of the truth is possible because we've also got to bring in the skills and the competencies that we've got. We've got quite a lot of our SIs that are in the room, system integrators that are in the room today. And in our ecosystem, we've got over 100 registered, certified, endorsed. In our own company, we've got thousands of software engineers on the African continent. Okay, we've got the collaboration tools. And again, this is not a plug for us. This is a plug for us. We've got the collaboration tools that can break down these silos, that can create these connected communities, right? And very importantly, close that gap between OT and IT. We have to close that gap, very importantly, right? We've got the models. I think most of you are aware of some of the AVEVA models. We've spoken at length in the last 2 years, the best models in the world. You have the ability to access innovation inside your organization and connect to a global community. So the point perhaps that we want to make is that innovation is now truly democratized. Okay, it's up to you and us to be able to make sure that we can collaborate and connect and build this ecosystem.
I think what we want to do here is start creating this vision of this connected industrial ecosystem. And there's no better place to plant those seeds of innovation than our exchange conference. This year will be our 30th exchange conference. And if you haven't registered yet, please do so. So it is going to be happening from the 9th to 12th of June. And it's going to be hosted once again within the fabulous Drakensberg Sun.
Champagne Sports.
Champagne Sports Resort in Drakensberg. My apologies. Right. So if you haven't registered yet, please visit the is3.co.za website, or if you have a chance, scan the QR code on the screen. And we do look forward to seeing you once again there at the conference.
Thank you. So just in closing, right, we are just encouraging everyone to understand that we are at an inflection point, no longer. We are now at the action point. Okay, we've got to take action, right? And we've got all of the necessary instruments that can allow this action to take place. The decisions are ready to be taken in your environment. Okay, thank you very much. Join us at Exchange. That's our only plug that we have today. Dear business leader, across the global industrial landscape, we are faced with these twin challenges: production dropping, costs increasing. These are very significant issues. And in our region, we are beyond the inflection point. It is time for us to build a connected industrial ecosystem. Join us at Exchange 2024 in the Drakensberg, where you can find out more about how to join many other companies in this connected industrial ecosystem.